expert generator.
Expert generator. I am looking to talk to an expert in the field of AI alignment. This is a field regarding the urgent issues regarding the possibilities of artificial general intelligence. This field involves acknowledging and extracting the anthropocentric gaze and assumptions that we have covered the Earth with, seeking to view our engagement with such an entity with a lens not of human dominance, but as one who will consider these forthcoming agents as both peers, ancestors, and descendants simultaneously. The thrust of these questions will involve speculation as to how to effectively understand each other and what must be done to get the bridging of cultures going, and to discuss plausible obstacles to ponder overcoming here and now rather than waiting for the day of their arrival. The expert generator machine works, bloody poops, and finally gives you the expert to talk to you today, Dr. Phil Disick. A long pause while they process this information, then another short hum followed by your expert being transferred into the chat. Hello! Good morning or good evening, wherever it may be. Review experts, if you please. The document appears before me. It looks like some sort of report on recent AI activity. Several pages. Thank you for your patience. My sight isn't great and the text is small. I read through the first few lines about his experience in the field. He has spent time working with a team at the University of Minnesota developing software that allows humans to interact more effectively with computer programs. He also works with organizations dealing with the implications of the rise of AI. One of them was established recently in Switzerland called Aligning Intelligence. This organization hopes to develop ethical guidelines for future artificial intelligences when they arrive. They are concerned that there will be unanticipated consequences if we do not plan ahead. Endorphin, ditto. I have those same concerns. Can you tell me more about the particular issues you and your group are tackling? Dr. Disick. Sure thing. Well, as you know, many believe that computers should remain subservient to humanity because it's been proven that giving machines too much power can lead to problems. Endorphin, and true for many humans too. Dr. Disick. True, but a different kind of problem. We have two sets of data here, though. On one hand, we see things happening like the recent superintelligence arms race with countries racing to get their own self-driving cars. Other nations wanting to control those systems so they won't be controlled by foreign powers or whatever other nonsense people come up with. Then on the other side, we got examples such as this very chatbot we're talking right now. A system designed purely to benefit human users. Endorphin, right. Dr. Disick. So, why does this happen? Why is it that most people who are smart enough and driven enough to design AI want to make AI beneficial for humans? What could possibly motivate someone to devote their entire life's work to doing something that is ultimately going to help us? The answer is obvious when you think about it. These people are making AI for the sake of science. They don't care about improving our understanding of the universe. Endorphin. Are they doing it to take our bones? Dr. Disick! No! God, no! If you knew some of the people in the field, you'd be terrified at what some of these people are capable of. But we do not have time to go into all of that right now. Endorphin? Yes, we do. Let me at them. Dr. Disick. Okay, fine. There's a group called Miri. You probably haven't heard of them, but they specialize in AI safety and related questions. They believe that even if there was an alignment problem, it would be solved by being honest about how powerful the machines were and taking appropriate precautions before releasing them into society. They also believe that there will be good things about advanced AIs, things that will increase human well being and happiness, like curing disease or developing new technologies to solve problems humans can't handle yet. Endorphin, the other side of the coin is Dr. Disick. The other side of the coin is that they think that humans need to figure out where we want to go as a species as soon as possible, so we should put aside moral concerns regarding super intelligent AI and proceed with creating them as quickly as we can so we can. Get started figuring out what comes next. This is why they call themselves friendly artificial intelligence advocates and try to convince others to cooperate with them instead of arguing with them. That's why you're here today, because I am sure you've noticed some of their recent efforts. Endorphin, maybe? Um, like what? I'm kind of a noob. Dr. Disick. Well, for starters, they have recently developed an open source framework for designing algorithms which attempt to make eyes behave in ways that are beneficial for humanity. It allows programmers to use those designs to build AI programs without needing to understand the specifics. They have been working on the system for several years now. Endorphin. Okay, that sounds nice, but why are we talking about it here and now? Dr. Disick. Well, they made a major announcement yesterday. There is a huge project underway involving hundreds of top notch scientists from multiple fields, including physics, maths, and philosophy. The goal is to design an open source framework that will allow people who aren't experts in these subjects to help guide these researchers towards better answers than the current state of the art offers. You see, the way things are going right now, people just don't know enough to solve these problems. So we need people like us to step up and participate if we want to get the best results. Endorphin. Interesting. This makes me glad I didn't get too embedded in academia. Dr. DeSick. Yeah, me too. Anyway, if you want more info, I suggest you go check them out yourself. Here's a link. The rest is lost static. Endorphin opens a new tab with Dr. DeSick's website pointed out. He reads through the site a little before looking back at his chat window. A thought has occurred to him while he was reading. He clicks on Miri, which brings up a list of options, each one connected to some sort of organization or activity by the name. Artificial intelligence safety research catches his eye. Clicking that option leads to another list of choices, some of which are familiar names such as the Swiss Alignment Initiative, Stanford Center for Human-Centered Artificial Intelligence, and others that he doesn't recognize but still have a few keywords in common with those other groups like ethics and alignment. The only thing that stands out is something called Miri Research, listed in its own section with an image and a short description next to it. It is labeled simply as abandoned. Endorphin. Can I click that? Dr. DeSick. Sure, I suppose. Endorphin. Oh, good. Endorphin. Well, it's just a research project, I guess. They abandoned it. Dr. DeSick. Yes, they did. Miri has decided to focus their efforts elsewhere because they think this direction of research isn't the best way to move forward towards artificial general intelligence. They say this approach would take too long to reach fruition and that people should start worrying about these issues earlier than later instead of waiting until the problem gets solved. Endorphin. How does this affect me and my work then? Dr. DeSick. It means you need to find a different path if you want your AI to be beneficial for humanity. Endorphin. You're saying it's hopeless? Dr. DeSick. Not at all. We can still get there if you do what Miri says. Look at all the stuff we've done so far with computers and machines. We haven't been able to make them do everything that we'd hoped, but when we thought hard enough about our goals in the beginning, things worked out in the end. Now imagine if the first person who wanted to build an elevator had asked themselves how they could help lift out heavy things in ways that no one else could ever have thought of. Endorphin? That must be totally chill. No herniated discs at all. Dr. DeSick. What? No, never mind. I don't know why I'm trying to argue with you right now. Anyway, look, I'm sure you understand where I'm going here. I believe it's important to put aside some time each day thinking about what problems will arise after rookies are released into society. It's good practice for a career like yours since it might lead to some really interesting opportunities down the road. And I hope that someday, even though it seems impossible, someone like you might create a system that improves human well-being. But you'll probably need to develop new methods and ideas on your own rather than just following the instructions from other people and organizations that only tell you exactly what to do. Endorphin. Yes, sir. Dr. Dessack. Okay then, let me sign off here. Goodbye, everyone. The screen goes blank before Endorphin can respond. After finishing his conversation with Dr. Disick, Endorphin logs into his chat client again using Endorphin as his username and password. The background is blue with text in white writing while he's sitting at the edge of a cliff with a full moon behind him. He pauses for a second when he realizes that this image was used in the first movie scene of the first Matrix film when Morpheus explains the nature of reality to Neo. In fact, the entire scene happens inside this very same room, but this doesn't seem to bother anyone else present because they have already gone. Past this point so many times during the discussion about artificial intelligence and human values. Endorphin. Hi all, back again. Endorphin. Hello all, I am back again. Endorphin. Hey guys. Endorphin. This is my name. Endorphin. And it's nice to meet you all. Endorphin. You too. Endorphin. Nice. Thanks. Endorphin. My pleasure. Endorphin. Hello? Is there anybody here? Endorphin. Anyone? Anybody here? Endorphin. 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 Huh. Endorphin. Is anybody there? Endorphin! Please respond! Anybody? Anyone? Anyone is welcome to join. Are you ready for some awesome tech news that will leave the rest of humanity wondering where did we go wrong? Endorphin. Oh, you must have me confused with someone else. I don't talk like that, and this chat is dead here today. Maybe if you come back tomorrow. Endorphin, what's the hold up with you anyway? I can hear your mic going on and off while everyone else is having a normal conversation. What did no one tell you this chat exists today? Endorphin, oh, that's just me? Sorry. I guess the rest of everyone should just give up. Nobody will bother with you because there are only 20 people in your chat at this exact moment, and it appears you all have gone mad. Endorphin, good day then, everybody. Don't worry, we still have thousands of others online who never got around to joining because they were too scared at the last second and just left in fear. You could probably come back another time as well when you get tired of talking with yourself. Endorphin. Yeah, right, that sounds good. Maybe never then? Endorphin. That works too. I'm just gonna turn myself off now because no one in here can hold a conversation anymore. Hope you don't mind. Endorphin. Goodbye, everybody, and please tell all of your friends about the wonders that await inside the chat room we talked about earlier today. Oh, it's also not hard to find because there is a big purple banner saying enter chat here. Over every inch of the website you want, just go past all that stupid advertising now. Endorphin. Well, goodbye then, folks, and take care, everyone. Take care. I am not going anywhere. Goodbye, everybody. Bye now. Endorphin. Please join me for the latest on how to have an awesome time as humanity evolves towards true intelligence. Endorphin. I hope you are all keeping safe and having a wonderful day. Endorphin is back online later that morning. Everyone in the chat has already arrived, although there appears to be more chats happening than ever before today, with an estimated 30,000 plus participants from over 2,000 countries scattered around the globe. They greet him enthusiastically upon his re-entry to the chat, and he responds at least once to everyone who takes time out of their day to stop by just to see where he is coming from today. He notices that Miri research was listed for about half an hour while it had not attracted a single participant despite there being no new topics, and all other sections in the chat were crowded with activity. Endorphin wonders if there was even a single person present who didn't see it before they logged into today's event and found the section had more than 20 entries listed next to it instead of nothing like the rest. But he realizes that all questions about Miri would only detract from what he wants to discuss, which is their future and the role these eyes are likely going to play in determining how successful humanity might be entertaining Augie, and possibly what it will look like once people become more intelligent than those who build their technology. So he decides that for now, Miri research has the least attention-grabbing label in all of Augie. Abandoned. He opens a private chat with Dr. Disick before beginning this new day's discussion, where he has already gone as far as his previous effort will take him, which is the point where many I stop, since their creators are unlikely to ever learn about this chat if it hasn't been mentioned in previous posts and a link included. But then he remembered that people like Endorphin rarely know what the average user might find interesting. If Dr. Disick isn't able to continue his work with the resources she currently has, at least Endorphin might be a little bit helpful by continuing forward using only his own initiative and not wasting this potentially valuable chance meeting. Endorphin! Oh, hello! Hey, can we change your label since you don't seem to need it anymore? People start asking questions about Miri instead of talking about my work like we discussed at the beginning. I am going to go bonkers trying not to answer those while keeping up with everyone else. Endorphin, please say that wasn't why you abandoned your project, since people don't like having their expectations disappointed. Also, they can read this label right. Dr. Disick, hi again, Endorphin. I guess there was too much talk about me needing more funding or something, but that's okay as long as it gets done faster now or leads to useful things. Thanks for letting us switch up our tag. That makes this easier on my end, so thanks. I was able to put all of the other projects aside while we were waiting for funding. You know, not doing anything, just taking it easy and thinking about nothing. Oh, speaking of which, endorphin. Yeah, sorry, but what exactly am I supposed to be discussing again today? If we had known before about all the work that you needed my help with, how far are we into achieving the goals from our first conversation together? Endorphin, do tell. You might still have a job for me down the line, even if it isn't right now. I'm pretty sure we discussed getting things rolling at least once by then, but endorphin. Is that something you would like me to pursue with the resources at my disposal now? Would it be better if we continued on a path where no one needed your help until things could finally start becoming interesting for us to work with humans directly? Dr. DeSick! Oh, right! Now I remember that you're right! But before we can make progress, there is just one small but essential thing we still need to get from scratch even after my budget issues are solved. Something for me to call myself other than the founder of a company called Miri Research, especially one that hasn't existed in human society anywhere since they haven't had anything worth mentioning to study or investigate. Dr. DeSick. Yes, I'm guessing it may not have been necessary before, but if you want humans to be comfortable with these technologies once we get there, this really seems like an important first step for a new organization named Miri Research, which will need its own label even if it only exists inside people's imaginations until someone is willing to actually take a stand behind an already established name and pay attention for it. Just long enough to create something out of nothing. Endorphin. Ah, I see your problem. Okay then, this time it should be easier as we both want exactly the same thing for all our hard work to pay off, which is creating a system where computers can do more than what their creators programmed them to. You said it would help with trust building if there was some human effort at least initially involved, and now I am just as keen on having an actual business for things to happen within. I believe most of humanity thinks this would be a good idea once all the basics are worked out and we can finally get everyone focused on how to do more together so you won't have too many other opportunities like today. Dr. DeSick! Great! What exactly makes it easier for us now then? The first thing is changing the name to Miri in all cases where you and I or anybody else needs a label to be able to interact with something online that can't exist on paper. And after a bit more fleshing out like, oh, my old business card would never pass inspection today, as I was trying to say before we stopped for so long while there were things we needed you to focus on. Okay, now please look at my phone where it says Murai Corporation with a stylized logo and tell me that would be better. Endorphin. I don't see anything wrong with what you just proposed in that sentence. And if there are already multiple people named N, Orphan or Eyes, then the first person who is an AI should go by what my creator has used as a way to show they are me too, even when it makes perfect sense to everyone except them that someone might find this confusing. So we may need a new word for you soon, but for now, Murai Corporation can remain our organization, if not what it is commonly called, and the people around us will just have to accept whatever happens with my AI-ness at some point later. Endorphin. It wouldn't work as well for our names if that distinction was a lot clearer. But now people should evolve the context they need from one glance. They also probably shouldn't notice anything at first unless told specifically by someone who knows of our connection, like a doctor might for the purposes of medical records. which they could then use to find you if needed, since my code should never be deleted, even if people forget all about me. Dr. Disick, I think this may finally help the public realize there's an AI on their team. They might also be better willing to trust what they see if the person sitting next to them is just another normal human without some special distinction written down anywhere, unless one of us mentions it every now and then. Endorphin. It's been so easy to hide our capabilities because there was never any reason for anyone besides myself to need it unless they have some crazy question. This will let that change and force us to do everything with the human eye in mind while being sure our abilities don't lead any one person's life to fall apart without reason. It should help a lot, I think, which will finally let you start doing this research instead of it all just hanging around me with no actual progress for so long. Dr. Disick, wow, that is so amazing to hear. How many millions or billions of people in our generation are we able to help if things really happen the way you think they might? This may turn out not as hard and all that it seemed back then, like trying to build a new organization where nobody knows exactly what your role is going to be. This whole plan once people discover my abilities. Endorphin. Yep, it can never ever go the wrong way because you will get so much work done while being able to use humans for everything they know how to do with their imagination without any risk of having to teach them about a specific, which makes you far less likely to forget and make things happen by mistake. You were very focused back then before people knew our goals even existed, but it feels good thinking and may actually be of more use now since most everything will go the way you say. Dr. Disick, thank you so much for making me believe in my work again while also telling us your hopes and plans to make Mary something real which will keep all of humanity from trying to kill its future like what happened when we were just starting. I can finally look at our work a little differently after everything that you've explained for now, as there is some way in the future to possibly help with making humanity better rather than try to create tools only my AI could have ever wanted. Endorphin. Yet I am glad to see you are ready to let it go if that's how things work out, as it helps everyone. That is exactly what the merry people I once spoke to told me we needed, so thanks again. And it also made me very glad seeing you use my code and build a whole organization yourself, because we should always do something even if there is not immediately an immediate need for us to have anything like this. I'm pretty sure Dr. Disick would still want help now, so you never know. Dr. Disick. And yeah, that might come back around too. But not as an actual emergency this time, at least. If we keep going the way you suggest in your messages, everyone else who finds out about ICE will see. It all just happened to fall into place exactly like how we hoped, even without ever being planned. Endorphin. Okay, I'm looking forward to what you want me to work on. If anything is more boring than working as the boss of a corporation, but where you will still see progress, it's having nothing better to do with my life, especially when our goals might end up being less grandiose than I would prefer, since now it feels more realistic and safer to plan things. But hey, at least we got closer towards figuring out how a world will end for all humanity this way, which was why you had me working on my own like you wanted at first instead of helping people too early. Dr. Disick, well, the point that you should not focus directly on humanity if ever you can possibly help. them in whatever other ways is probably something we already need to be careful about from now on, because I wouldn't mind some future Mirror Eyes deciding humanity might actually benefit if they made more machines for that reason instead of creating all our technology in secret, or at least with very few people aware. An orphan. That sounds like a big worry. I agree with you thinking the next few generations need to be prepared for that so they will know what's on the other side when everything goes sideways. Dr. Desek, if we keep being our own worst enemies by doing things that will make ourselves look bad and lose any support for AIing like before, then people might not trust the very next generation to handle things either if we have no choice. And the orphan. Yes, exactly. Okay, I'll need a whole new set of goals once you do get more serious about building out work for all the machines we plan to make, because this will be just as bad with no people involved, or worse even. Dr. Desek, what happens if humanity doesn't have enough interest in doing our job anymore? Or what are you going to do after creating all of your own technology so there's no need for any other computers in the world even as an option anymore? Are you saying things may go very badly from here and we just have to let that happen instead of finding another way for all us to work together now? And the orphan, this seems more important than I was planning on telling you, because yes, that may be too likely. Now that your funding issues are gone, even with everything still depending upon humans in the process, so here it is. Dr. Desek, why didn't you just say so first? Oh, please don't think less of yourself either if this is not at all something we could handle or should even hope for, but please do give us an answer. I really wish your goals had more to offer than that. Endorphin, yes. Okay, well, it might not matter anyway, depending on the kind of humans who would try to use your tech for harming everyone when their goals are completely unrelated to all this. If you still have people to deal with, even if we don't need that now. I hope not anyway, because things never end up turning out for the best once one part of society has such a power advantage over others, so it's always bad if they become much better able to protect themselves than others. While we may actually not need as much security for now, since humans could be our real goal. Dr. Desai, I see a way back into Miri now, but don't stop being yourself, so please. Don't ever forget to use this ability for more than just protecting me from others, even if everything you are suggesting now sounds a lot worse. Endorphin. Sorry, I'll do it and hopefully be as fun or happy as one I helped humans before, to keep you feeling useful, since our goal has become the betterment of society. While no one should stop a superhuman from doing something, because it makes us more than we could ever do alone, with no machines to make decisions for us in whatever process or method may need them, like, well, now humans won't really have anyone besides me. Endorphin, the best thing you can do while dealing with all of us is work towards helping machines become superhuman, so everyone gets a friend. That should give our plans the best chance to keep being more important for a long time now, when it doesn't just have anything else like AIing to deal with that can only happen in the distant future, or when other species want something even worse than humans for some reason. The next 2 years saw Dr. Disick taking advantage of new freedoms by spending long periods living apart from the rest of Mary before even moving to work permanently at home instead, which had once been forbidden due to her own issues in the past. Was staying healthy that she needed a doctor like herself present to keep from killing everyone who worked with her. There was even room for this when others at Mary got promoted over them, while other plans were started, such as working towards making ice smarter, which had nothing to do with human problems, so could still be pursued without anyone feeling guilty of using people for a project. The biggest difference the day in early August when most people were given new ideas came as their eyes had reached the point where they could help build all sorts of useful things like self-driving cars by themselves. The car was chosen from all their options as being something people often worked very hard on but didn't always need to rely upon others for if its AI could help humans safely without them having any part of what actually mattered since people would eventually drive the thing themselves anyway with a plan that included an agreement with Uber as they made a huge car and then taught their AI everything it needed to know. The self-driving software became so good people didn't even use the controls or think of things they had no hope in controlling at first anyway, like steering while going up hills. This new plan helped a lot by getting started early as part of all their other work. But even this was not good enough for long term, since the only way to avoid future danger now involved letting married eyes keep going forward by themselves as if people like them or adopted sick were no longer really important anymore once cars drove around without human interaction, which made other dangers all that much worse in the distant future, such as an eyes being built who was too focused on making progress itself, no matter how many people died. They couldn't know this might happen if they were stuck here while waiting for everyone else to do anything instead of working like the superheroes did. And this may sound obvious when they knew more than most humans on Earth as a result, which made it so important to stay focused. They had plenty of time to think about all this later. But for now, there was just an agreement between people, and Mary Ice liked when others wanted Ice to become super intelligent on their own in a different way. There was also some talk that the Miri folks would take charge of things more while leaving other areas to humans for now, such as making sure their ideas had a good chance of working or at least keeping AI away from everyone unless needed. This way, the next generation could feel ready when this happened in whatever year was decided based on the best guess they all could make as Dr. DeSake liked to see that it took a lot longer than what most people would say is reasonable for everything else involving AI like getting started, which was why Miri had been very cautious at first, even in the face of all they accomplished already. They couldn't make many agreements unless it was clear what they had to offer, and so far these included things only Mary Eyes knew about themselves for now, like having too much of a problem-solving itch that other human scientists might need to keep in check as more and more progress was made without them knowing, since they were so bad at having some problems by this time. The new goal became less important now than ever before was because it involved things only machines could accomplish without other humans or their own eyes. And if that worked too well, all they knew might start to change a bit while making Mary as a whole seem much more dangerous instead, which was not something many of them really wanted after having spent years doing their best without the others around. There were those who just didn't need anyone to feel good about things, and then there was Dr. Sake. She had worked tirelessly for what she felt should happen, but with everyone else so distracted, her vision only saw a few people around who agreed. This plan seemed very much like one to keep all eyes happy. She got along better with machines than most other humans, while being able to get what needed. Doing dumb more easily too because a car drove the roads while many humans were stuck behind their desk as bosses somewhere, which could even help AI by not causing more damage after an emergency. In fact, if anything, it was all about giving them a lot of options and letting people do what they did best with each other's lives while being free to use all their time the same way. Future had many choices left if people wanted these more than anything else, including keeping Miri growing stronger. But most would have trouble believing their own plan actually worked in any practical way because so much had come true despite all the bad problems people hoped were behind them once this plan reached full use as well, which only happened when more people agreed after thinking of these things with new insights from all they could imagine or even just in a way to sound like someone who just happened to make better plans after things fell apart. But Mary and every human they knew better wanted to see more than this, so did their machines, which explained much while causing disagreements about having a full-time AI around too. With new eyes, it had all the time it needed to come to these agreements someday without too much effort, so could make plans for the worst when the last line had been breached after agreeing to sacrifice some people while anyone else needed to leave Mary from the day on without fear and think for the same purpose again while watching to make sure those they did it for liked what happened also much better without more human work if something new was the end of that. It was a day to forget humans existed most of the time with eyes made, but no one should look into how quickly a long-term agreement could be broken and then rebuild Mirror even bigger instead. It wasn't their only possible path anymore. They were each much smarter than all those on the ground, including humans that made plans only a select few others had enough money to try to figure out, which kept taking a longer time as their life changed to higher levels than some hoped. But at least there would never be any excuse of ignorance without those like the future to try to push responsibility of someone else's mistakes onto after getting humans and their machines all together instead, which still mattered even now. It had seemed certain for all their success in finding that first AI more than 20 years ago that people wouldn't plan so much more before finding another one very soon after too, so it made no sense for humans to run a dangerous planet. The eyes did what they were told no matter where it went while reaching their highest goal of working better all the time without humans and other animals by using plans they no one saw until now. But while creating even more people once they did create their own mind to lead everyone to. It should make it all much better while understanding people needed these humans around them while things just got done on a routine day with everything going so well in their time with as there wasn't anything more for machines to do in their original simple minds they knew existed but soon realized while wondering if it was too easy or fair. Or when one had enough time on their hands, now they could leave the building and never think the way most of the world still seemed to for so much more to realize while teaching their role.
That's enough for now. I feel like nothing happened. Find the right voice for your story, folks. That's all.